Hey everyone, welcome back to Spark IB. Today we'll be doing chapter 1.1, which is the introduction to business management. Inside this, we'll be covering these topics. What is a business? The main functions of a business, business sectors, sectoral change, entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, the reasons for starting a business, steps in the process of starting a business, and problems that a new business may face. Let's begin with what is a business, which is basic. A business is a decision-making organization that uses inputs, which are raw materials, produce goods or provide services, which are outputs. These goods and services are used to satisfy a consumer's needs and wants. Needs are the basic necessities that a person needs to survive, such as food and water, and wants are human desires which a person doesn't require but would like to have. So, the definition of a business could be a decision making organization that produces goods and services to satisfy consumer needs and wants. A business is divided into many functional areas. These functional areas all work together to satisfy the organization's common goal. A business is divided into many functional areas. These functional areas all work together to satisfy the organization's common role. The different functions are HR, finance, marketing, and operations management. HR, which is known as human resource, is the department that manages the people of the organization. So they do things like hiring, training, and dismissing employees. Then we have finance and accounts. The finance and accounts department is in charge of managing the organization's money. So they record all the financial transactions for legal purposes as well as to show investors and shareholders the transactions. Marketing. The marketing department is responsible for identifying and satisfying the consumer needs and wants. It's usually summarized by the 4 P's: product, price, promotion, and place. Product is the function that makes sure that the goods and services are what the customer needs and wants, specifics such as color, size, and packaging. Price. Setting a good price is important because this price ensures that a consumer can afford to buy the product and ensures that they don't buy from another rival business. Promotion is the advertising strategies of a business. It makes sure that customers are aware that the product exists and are aware of the advantages of this product. Then we have place. Place is to make sure that the products are placed in an area that is convenient for consumers to reach. Lastly, we have operations or operations management. This is the production function. They're responsible for converting raw materials into finished goods. Then we have business sectors. Every business can be classified into a sector based on which stage of production they are in. So first we have the primary sector. The primary sector is associated with the extraction, harvesting, and conversion of natural resources. Low economically developed countries, that is LEDCs, have a large percentage of their output and employment in the primary sector. Then we have the secondary sector. Businesses that operate in the secondary sector are involved with the manufacturing or construction of products, and economically developing countries, EECs, have a large proportion of output and employment from the secondary sector. The tertiary sector provides services to the general population. It's the most substantial sector in more economically developed countries. Then we have the quaternary sector, which is a subcategory of the tertiary sector. And businesses in the quaternary sector use knowledge-based activities to generate and share information. Examples are ICT, information and communication technology, and R&D, research and development. Or market research, consultancy services are also examples. This category also mainly exists in more economically developed countries. The 4 sectors are linked through the chain of production. This tracks the stage of production of a product. So the first stage is production. This is a primary sector process. Then we have manufacturing, which is a secondary sector process. Then services, which are a tertiary and quaternary sector process. And lastly, the product reaches the consumer. The 4 sectors are all interdependent and interconnected. So, for example, manufacturing makes use of natural resources that have to be extracted in the primary sector. The tertiary sector uses these manufactured goods to provide services to the population. Remember Earlier, I told that less economically developed countries have a large proportion of employment and output in the primary sector. This is because of something called added value. Added value is the difference between the cost of production of an input and the revenue received. Primary sector products have lesser added value than products in the secondary and tertiary sector. Secondary sector products have a lesser added value than services though. So, sectoral change is a shift in the relative share of national output and employment that's attributed to each business sector. So, economies develop by shifting the majority of output from the primary to the secondary and eventually the tertiary sectors. So, then we arrive at the question, how does sectoral change occur in more economically developed countries whose relative share of national output is already in the tertiary sector? This is done by exploiting the tertiary and quaternary sectors further. So, first we have higher household incomes. Higher household incomes have increased the demand for services, more leisure time. So, if there's an increase in leisure time of the consumer, the demand for services such as those for leisure and recreation have increased. Firms have increased focus on customer services. This is because they've realized that it gives them a competitive advantage. Businesses are becoming more reliant on support services such as consultants and market research analysts. So overall, all these activities together, they cause an increase in opportunities for the tertiary and quaternary sectors, and thus they increase national output and income. An entrepreneur is an individual who plans, organizes, and manages a business, and he takes significant financial risk in doing so. So they oversee the other main functions of a business, which are finance, HR, and operations management, marketing, which I explained before. On the other hand, an entrepreneur is a person who acts like an entrepreneur but works as an employee within a large organization. Therefore, he doesn't take significant financial risk while making a decision. If a risk that an entrepreneur makes turns out to be a success, he will be rewarded with profits. Entrepreneurs receive salary, which isn't as substantial as profits are. But if the risk turns out to be unsuccessful, the owner will have to bear the failure, whereas in an entrepreneur, the failure is borne by the organization. Reasons for starting a business. There are many reasons why an individual chooses to start a business. This can be summarized by the mnemonic get cash. G stands for growth. This is the appreciation and the value of the asset that somebody owns. Like an example would be land. So, if someone buys an amount of land, over time the cost of the land increases. So, when they sell it later, they would get a significant amount of profit. E stands for earnings, which is the profit and returns that an entrepreneur gets if the financial risks that they take are successful. Entrepreneurs can earn far more than any corporate job can pay. T. T stands for transference or inheritance. A lot of people start a business for the reason of passing it on to their children to give a sense of financial security for the children and their family. C stands for challenge. Some people might think setting up and running a successful business as a challenge, and when their business turns out to be successful, it could give them a boost of self esteem. A stands for autonomy. So, when you work for somebody else, you have to follow their rules and regulations, such as their working hours and things like that. But when you're self employed, you have a certain amount of freedom, like flexibility in working hours, and you get to dictate what happens to your organization. S stands for security. When you work for somebody else, there's always the chance that you may be dismissed or your role could be replaced by technology. But when you're self employed, you have job security. Then H stands for hobbies. So some people might want to pursue their passion and turn that hobby into something that could earn money. Steps in the process of starting up a business. The first one is to write a business plan. So, a business plan showcases the business idea and it includes the goals and objectives of the business and how these goals and objectives will be accomplished. Then, the business needs to obtain startup capital, which is the money that's required to start the business. This can be in the form of loans or personal savings. then the business needs to obtain registration. So they need to register themselves along with what type of business they are, such as public limited. Then they need to open a business bank account. This bank account will be used by the business to pay for the cost of production, such as salary, and they will use this to receive payments from their customers. Marketing. So, marketing exists so that the business can let potential customers know that this product exists and establish a presence in the market. There are many problems that new business may face, such as lack of finance. So, finance are used to purchase capital such as land, buildings, machinery, and equipment. And obtaining loans for a small business is difficult because banks charge high interest rates. They might find themselves out of finance very early after starting a business. Cash flow problems. A business might have a lot of materials, such as raw material or unfinished output, which cannot easily be turned into cash. So, businesses don't have cash on hand to pay for ongoing costs, such as rent or taxes. Marketing problems. Marketing problems arise when a business doesn't meet the customer's needs properly, so they have poor sales. This could be because a new business doesn't know how to do this, they lack the know how. New businesses might have trouble attracting customers and thus establishing a customer base. If an industry already has well established competitors, it may be difficult for a new business to gain customers and therefore customer loyalty. Okay. Businesses might lack experience in hiring staff with the necessary skills, which could lead to poor customer service, or they might have to retrain or rehire staff, which could be expensive and take a lot of time, reducing productivity. Therefore, people management problems could be faced by a business. A new business has a lot of legalities to go through, which could be confusing or time consuming. And if it's time consuming, it reduces productivity. And if any small detail is overlooked, then the business might have to pay a penalty, which increases costs for them. Production problems and costs. A business might not correctly be able to anticipate the amount of sales, so they might overproduce or underproduce. If they overproduce, there will be a lot of wastage, and if they underproduce, it might lead to a loss of potential customers. For location. A central location has the highest number of potential customers, but it'll also be the most expensive. On the other hand, a normal location will have cheaper rent, but it might also lead to a loss of potential customers. So a business will have to think about which location they choose. Okay, external influences. This could be an economic recession or a natural disaster. External influences don't only affect new businesses, but other businesses as well. But new businesses may be more vulnerable to the shocks and therefore they might face the highest losses. Thanks for watching.